Hello again, YouTube. I am Light, and today we are going to be talking about something that pertains to quite a bit. The last video I just uploaded, the fucking threat of war with China. Today we're talking about endless wars. Now, this is a term popularized by, I would say, primarily the left on this country, but others, like libertarians, can sometimes be allies on these specific issues. Endless wars is referring to the U.S.'s continued foreign policy of intervention in foreign countries that did not attack us. And it also refers to the fact that we are still in the war with Afghanistan 20 years later. We're still there. Same with Iraq. So we're going to be diving into that. Here's something that if you still don't know about somehow, you're about to now. The United States military budget for 2020 alone, and this keeps getting higher every year, was $934 billion. So in the midst of, 2020, we needed to spend another trillion on our military because, we're at war. We are. Most Americans, if you watched the news media, wouldn't even know that we are literally, currently, right now, in wartime. They wouldn't know. Because you get on there, you want tune in tonight at CNN's Erin Burnett. And then she starts talking about whatever tweet of the day or whatever little thing of the day. I mean, sure, there's some good things to report on that aren't war, but they never report on the war either. Literally. It's almost, you have to dig. I had to dig for hours just to get this information. Because that's how rarely it's ever brought up in mainstream discourse. And it is a massive problem. And it's brought up that little. $1 trillion a year military budget. In the midst of a pandemic where people don't have food, they don't have houses, and we're squabbling on whether or not we're going to give the people a few $1 billion. Well, we just, business as usual, $1 trillion a year, blowing up other countries. Let's get into it. So the U.S. is currently at war with 8 countries. Go ahead and name how many countries you think we're at war with. Can you name 8 countries we're at war with? Probably not. You probably couldn't name 3. Most people would probably say Iraq or Afghanistan. They might not even bring up both because some people would have you believe that one of them ended. No, we're still in all of these places. 8. Not 2. 8. So we are at a hot war, which means boots on the ground, traditional military tactics, tanks, Humvees, soldiers, doing military drills, okay? We are at hot wars with 2 countries, Iraq and Afghanistan, still, and we are at drone wars with Syria, Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, Libya, and because I couldn't research this, that's just 5 more. There's actually a couple more that I couldn't remember or find because, like I said, it's hard to find this information, disgustingly enough. That's what I'm talking about here, is that most people couldn't have even named those. Now, or no, scratch now, we'll save that for later. So, as I just mentioned, we're in a drone war with those 5 countries. Now, what does a drone war mean? Okay, so a drone war is where you you step back, take a step back, and then you start to propagandize to the country. Oh, we're not in a war right now. We're not sending troops over here. Okay, so there's just troops in buildings with Xbox 360 controllers that are pushing buttons and playing with people's lives. That's not war. That's not war? Okay, it'd be one thing if they got their intended targets. It'd be one thing if the Xbox controller warriors were able to actually fulfill their intended purpose by killing terrorists. Now, they do that sometimes. You want to know what they do 93% of the time, though? Now, this isn't that. Don't get it misrepresented. Not that they need any credibility, but this isn't saying that 93% of the time they kill people instead of terrorists. This means, which is still bad enough, that 93% of drone strikes have killed civilian targets. 93% of drone strikes in these non-wars have killed civilians. People that had nothing to do with anything. People going to the grocery store. Like many of you do. They just happen to not live in this country. Therefore, they're fair game to get droned. This is horrific. And it can't be brought up enough with how fast this news cycle is with COVID and Trump every day. Because there's so much to talk about. People can't even bring this up enough, it seems like. Well, they should, and I'm going to right the fuck now, because we have to. We have to keep a laser focus on the fucking fact that we are still in 8 wars in 2020 with the pandemic and all these other problems. We also still got to go over there with our soldiers and gun down 93% of fucking civilians. And today, this is breaking. Trump, tangentially the U.S., launched a full economic war on Iran. I guess pretty soon you can add 9 to that list of 8 countries. Because now we are taking the furthest steps you can go without more blowing up buildings with Iran. These wars have no intention of stopping. The politicians who vote for your sons and daughters and your brothers and sisters to go overseas and blow people up or get themselves blown up have no intention of stopping these wars. These politicians have no intention of even an open discussion on maybe whether or not it's even legal to have all of these wars, because the ones I just mentioned that weren't Iraq and Afghanistan, none of them had Congress's approval. None of them. Congress didn't get a say at all. The executive branch under the Obama administration and the Trump administration now continuing this. The executive branch just made the decision for Congress, I suppose. These wars have to end. These are lives. These are 93% of drone strikes killing civilian targets. Would we, by the way, for the U.S. saying that that's not war, would we accept it if Russia drone bombed Mississippi? Would we accept their saying, like, well, this isn't a war, we didn't send any troops over there? We just pressed a few buttons to kill the people we killed over there. Would we accept that at all? Of course we wouldn't, because that's obviously fucking wrong. Bombing someone, your country, and you bomb another country, that's an act of warfare. Okay? We have the audacity to pretend that it's not. We pretend that we're the good guys, we're just fighting terrorists, and also these drone wars, they're not even real traditional wars, so like there's no reason to worry about it, guys. Don't you realize that the US is the good guys and they're the bad guys? Well, no, actually you're making it fairly hard to realize that with every preceding action you seem to be doing is perpetuating death and murder of innocent fucking people and people that live in countries that never even attacked us. Like, here's the irony. The 15 9/11 hijackers responsible for 9/11 and thus responsible for all of the justifications for these wars, they came from Saudi Arabia. Saudi fucking Arabia. Was that on the list of any of these countries let's see here. Iraq, Afghanistan. No, that's not Saudi Arabia. Okay, well then maybe what about the drone wars? At least maybe we're droning them back for that. Syria, Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, Libya. Whoa! No mention of Saudi Arabia. Well, that's weird because they're the actual people that attacked us on 9/11. If you're going to go with that. At least the people came from there. You want to know why there's no mention of Saudi Arabia on this list? It's because they have the world's highest oil. They have the highest amount of oil in the entire world. So when you really get down to brass fucking tacks, you know what these wars are about, right? They're about nothing but money. With all the death and degradation falsely attributed to socialist regimes over the years, people like to throw out, oh, socialism has killed 100 million people. Well, first of all, that was authoritarian communist Soviet Russia. And these people that bring this number up will never address all of these lives that capitalism has literally killed over the years. Killing for monetary purposes. The abolition of money and thus capital and looking for a more future-going and better system is starting to sound a lot less radical, isn't it? When you've got all this going on for money. When you've got politicians selling out the global atmospheric health of this planet for money from climate change. When we're just in endless wars and the number of countries is going to keep on rising. Why wouldn't it? It seems to me that the radical position is slowly shifting. Well, this wasn't as fun of a topic or anything as yesterday's, but it was a damn important topic. And I think that we would all be a little bit better off if we paid more attention to these kind of things. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe below. Also like the video. Like, I'm fucking doing all this shit. You can shoot me a thumbs up, motherfucker. Jesus, the light is coming.